Detective Reggie Witherbottom had seen a lot of strange things in his career. Missing pets that turned up wearing tiny sweaters. A garden gnome theft ring operated by disgruntled landscapers. But nothing quite like this. The basement of 42B Mulberry Lane smelled like damp wool, even faintly electric, like the air before a storm. Reggie tugged at the cuff of his trench coat, a habit he'd developed during particularly puzzling cases. This one, though, was shaping up to be the strangest yet. Mrs. Edna Peabody, the homeowner, clutched a floral handkerchief to her chest as she recounted the incident. "It was just a load of whites," she said, her voice trembling. "2 pairs of socks, 3 undershirts, and a tea towel with little ducks on it. Everything came out except a single sock. Detective, why would anyone just take one?" Reggie scribbled notes, though he wasn't entirely sure what he was writing. A sock. Missing. From a dryer. It sounded absurd, but the look on Edna's face was pure devastation. The next witness was a college student named Jake, who lived in the apartment above Edna. He'd been doing laundry yesterday. "Dude, I swear," Jake said, running a hand through his bleached hair. "I put in, like 6 pairs of socks. Came back and bam, 1 sock was gone. Who the hell steals just 1 sock?" Reggie frowned. 1 sock wasn't just odd, it was inconvenient. By the time Reggie interviewed Mrs. Ling from across the street, a pattern had emerged. "Everyone has this happen," she whispered, leaning in so close Reggie could smell her lavender perfume. "It's always just one. Never the same color, never the same size." Reggie's gut twisted. This wasn't just a case of lost laundry. This was a conspiracy. Reggie crouched by the dryer, running his fingers along the lint trap like it might reveal some hidden message. Moving around the dryer trying to find a clue. Any clue. The metal was warm, humming faintly under his touch. "You're telling me," he muttered, more to himself than to Mrs. Peabody, "that this machine selectively eats socks?" She nodded fervently, her pearl earrings catching the dim basement light. The dryer's control panel was an ancient dial, the numbers worn smooth by years of use. Reggie twisted it experimentally. It clicked twice, once at, delicate, again at, permanent press, before settling back on normal. Something about that second click felt a little off. He paused, then twisted it again, slower this time. At the exact midpoint between permanent press and normal, the dial resisted. Reggie pressed the dial inward harder as he twisted. With a soft snick, the drum in the dryer started to spin faster and faster, a slight light and static charge building up in the back of the spinning drum. Then, with a hum, an event horizon appeared. It was a portal. The air that wafted out was warm and smelled faintly of fabric softener. Reggie hesitated. This was insane, but then he heard it, a distant, rhythmic thump like a heartbeat. Reggie reached his hand towards the shimmering layer. With a flash of light, Detective Reggie Witherbottom disappeared. The tunnel exhaled a gust of warm, floral-scented air as Reggie was pulled forward, his knees scraping against what felt like lint? It was soft, like walking on a carpet woven from dryer sheets. The thump grew louder, vibrating through the walls, which Reggie now realized weren't made of metal or drywall, but of tightly woven fabric. Socks, hundreds of them, their patterns and colors faintly glowing in the dim light. A sock-based architecture. He'd seen cult hideouts and drug dens, but this was new. The tunnel began to widen, then with a flash opened into a cavernous space, and Reggie froze. Below him, stretching as far as he could see, was a city. Not a human city, unless humans had suddenly taken to building skyscrapers out of many combined argyle and tube socks, with streets paved in quilted cotton. Tiny humanoid figures moved between the structures, their forms shimmering like heat haze. As Reggie's eyes adjusted, he realized they weren't wearing clothes. They were clothes. Or rather, they were made of socks animated by some unseen force, hopping and shuffling with purpose. A polka-dotted knee-high waved at a striped ankle sock in what looked like a lively debate. Reggie's foot slipped, sending a pebble, a loose button, skittering down the slope. Every sock in the city froze. Then, in unison, they turned toward him. "Oh," said a voice from his left. A single, argyle-clad tube sock lounged against a lint boulder, its cuff ruffled in what Reggie could only interpret as amusement. "You're here?" Reggie's fingers trembled against the lint-covered slope as hundreds of sock creatures stared up at him with their stitched seams. The argyle sock beside him cleared its throat. "Well, It said, its voice like the rustle of fresh laundry. "You weren't supposed to find us." Reggie blinked. Yo, where is this place?" The sock creature shrugged, its ribbed cuff rippling. "Nothing more than a hidden realm that should be out of your perception. Refugees looking for a home." It gestured toward the bustling sock city below, where a crew of athletic socks were constructing what looked like a suspension bridge out of shoelaces. "Your world doesn't see us. We were just an existence without form. We found that socks of all types, with holes, mismatches, lost in the wash, gave us a chance to take form and live. In your world, socks are just fabric, but here, we're alive. We just borrow a little material to keep going." Reggie's mind spun. "So you're telling me every missing sock ends up here?" The Argyle sock finished, nodding toward a towering structure woven entirely from orphaned dress socks. Reggie swallowed hard, his detective instincts warring with sheer disbelief. "You're telling me dryers are portals?" "Not all dryers," the sock corrected, rolling its cuff in what might have been exasperation. "Just the chosen ones. The ones with character." It gestured to the cityscape below, where a crew of construction workers made of knee-highs were reinforcing a wall with what looked like, Reggie squinted, a fuzzy house sock. "We take only what we need. 1 sock per load. Just enough to patch a roof, or," it added sheepishly, "make a new citizen." Reggie's eyebrows arched upwards, in surprised shock, saying, "Citizens? Right." He eyed a group of ankle socks hauling a scrap of flannel like a parade banner, and continued. "Do you know what a huge inconvenience one missing sock is? It causes chouse." The Argyle sock hesitated. "It's," his face puckered, "a necessary sacrifice." Reggie stared at the Argyle sock, his mind reeling. "You retelling me," he said slowly, "that every single person who ever lost a sock in the dryer has actually donated to a noble cause." The sock interrupted cheerfully. It gestured toward a group of baby socks constructing a makeshift trampoline out of elastic bands. "Look at them. They re-thriving. And we only take 1. Well, most of the time. Sometimes more. Depends on the vibe." Reggie rubbed his temples. "This is insane." "Insane?" The sock scoffed, its cuff ruffling indignantly. "What? Insane is your world throwing away perfectly good fabric just because it slightly mismatched. We recycle. We upcycle. We..." It paused as a tiny crew sock came sprinting up the lint slope, waving a scrap of lace like a distress flag. Duty calls." Reggie watched the tiny sock creature scamper off, its lace scrap fluttering behind it like a battle standard. The Argyle sock sighed. "Look, detective," it said, pointing toward the city at the base of the hill. "We twant to be a nuisance. We're just trying to survive." Reggie crouched, his knees sinking into the lint carpet. "So you're saying every dryer with a missing sock is a gateway," the sock confirmed, "but only for the forgotten, the abandoned, the lonely." It gestured toward a cluster of polka-dotted crew socks huddled around a fire woven from loose threads. "They were balled up in a pocket for years. You ever try breathing in a lint-filled darkness for that long?" Reggie's stomach twisted. He thought of his own dryer at home, the single navy sock that had vanished. He'd blamed static cling. Reggie's fingers brushed the lint carpet beneath him, the fibers clinging to his skin like reluctant confessions. The Argyle sock, now introducing itself as Cuffton Esquire, adjusted its ribbed hem in a dignified way. Reggie crouched lower, his knees sinking deeper into the lint. "What exactly are you proposing?" Cuffton's stitches tightened, its ribbed hem rippling with something like anticipation. "We propose a trade," it said, gesturing toward the bustling sock city below. "You don't say anything. Let us live like we are. In return, we share our intel, patterns, trends, the whispers of the laundry world." It leaned in conspiratorially, smelling faintly of lavender sachets. "Do you have any idea how much socks know? They have walked every path of life." Reggie's eyebrows shot up. "You're joking." "Ask any sock," Cuffton said, cuff twitching toward a cluster of striped crew socks huddled near a lint campfire. "People take us everywhere when they think no one's listening or no one's there to see. We hear and see, detective. Missing keys, secret crushes. That time Mrs. Peabody accidentally washed her dentures with the dedicates." It paused. She swears it was the dog. Reggie rubbed his temples again. This was either the most elaborate prank of his career or the weirdest breakthrough. "So let me get this straight," he said slowly. "You want me to, what?" Cufton answered, "Just keep our sock utopia a secret in exchange for—" Reggie exhaled, long and slow, interrupting Cufton. "And if I say no?" Cufton's stitches tightened. "Then you wake up in Mrs. Peabody's basement with a headache and no memory of this conversation." Quote. It leaned closer, smelling faintly of static cling. "And all your socks go missing. Forever." Reggie's took a moment to think, his hand rubbing his chin, the warm air blowing lightly through his hair. He'd spent his career chasing the bizarre, but this was the first time the bizarre had offered him a job. Cufton's stitches had quivered with something like hope when he'd agreed. "Just one sock per load," it had reminded him. "Left or right, we're not picky. But only one. We're not monsters." The tunnel back to Mrs. Peabody's basement had felt longer on the return trip, the lint carpet clinging to his shoes like guilt. He'd emerged with a single question burning in his mind. How many people had unknowingly donated to a sock civilization? His own dryer had claimed at least 3 lone socks over the years. Had they become walls? Bridges? Citizens? This case will forever remain an unsolved cold case. And to this day, no one knows why it is that just one sock randomly disappears from a load of laundry. Back in his apartment, Reggie stared at his laundry basket. A single pair of Argyle socks sat atop the pile, their diamond pattern glaringly bright under the flickering kitchen light. He'd never paid much attention to them before. Now, they felt like they weighed 1,000,000 pounds. The dryer door creaked as he opened it, the metallic scent of warm steel filling his nostrils. He hesitated, then placed the socks inside. A forest green sock with yellow diamonds lay slightly askew, its toe seam crooked. Reggie's thumb brushed over it, smoothing the fabric. "Just one," he murmured to himself. "But when will that one be lost to the portal?" Reggie hesitated, fingers hovering over the dryer. "These. Start button." The green Argyle sock stared up at him from the drum, its crooked toe seam like a silent goodbye. He spent his career chasing down criminals, interrogating witnesses, piecing together motives. But this was choosing a different ending. Subscribe for more Abby Normal short stories. Smash it now. Like it also.